All right, welcome everyone to the Cindy Timchal weekly uh, media Zoom. Coach, coming off a pair of big wins, including an upset victory over nationally ranked Virginia. Can you please kind of talk about your last week, and then move into what you're looking forward to next week?
Yeah, I mean, what an exciting week for Navy women's lacrosse. Um, Really, after coming off of a heartbreak loss at home against Harvard, we quickly had to change gears and focus to, heading down for a big ACC matchup. We take pride in everybody we compete with. But we've had a tradition and a history of playing Virginia. They kind of got off our schedule during the COVID time. We're happy that they're back. And yeah, I mean that's a testament of Navy women's lacrosse to persevere, to keep it close, to in the end close it out in the end and secure that, decisive and hard fought and for Navy women's lacrosse, nationally recognized type victory for us down in Charlottesville. Um, and then, turning around, coming back home for another home match on Sunday. It was like 27 degrees, super cold. High Point has had, several tough losses. It seemed like a lot of fans for High Point, a majority of their roster is from Maryland. Um, you know, uh, we seem to be off on the shooting end. And that's what created a little bit of a lull for us offensively. I mean, defensively, our goal was to hold them to single digits, and we did that because they just came off a game in which they scored 21 goals against Liberty. Um, However, in our situation, um, their goalie played super well, local player from Maryland. We were a little off on the shooting, um, kept it closer than we'd like. However, proud of the team from persevering, coming through, securing the victory for Navy women's lacrosse.
Open it up to questions. Tim Nolan.
Tim.
Coach, you highlighted Ava Welsh there, the sophomore from High Point. When she starts the game as strong as she did between the pipes for the Panthers, how does that affect a shooter's psyche for your women offensively?
I don't think it really was affecting us. We were going to keep shooting. We're always focusing on that high quality shot. I feel like even against Virginia, we're just seemingly being rushed with our shots, actual shots and placement. So, today, we're going to focus a lot on the finishing piece of that. We felt like if we kept generating shots, that ultimately they would land. They did it, the goalie kept them in the game. There's no question about that. And our shooting percentage was below, we were shooting, I guess it, Virginia maybe above 50%, which is kind of what you need to do to secure those top 10 victories. So yeah, today we'll get back at that level of finishing. I don't think we ever got discouraged about the shooting, and we were getting, first shot, second shot opportunities, reset the shot clock. But that held him, the goalie and our shooting in the beginning held him in the game. There was a lapse coming out of the half into the third quarter, gave up some goals and some 8 meters that were called against us, free position 8 meter shots. So yeah, I mean, these are games that really is a testament to what competition's all about, stepping out and earning everything, moving forward when you're out on the field. It doesn't matter who you're playing. And we've witnessed it in college basketball, all sorts of crazy things. So it's important for us to just focus in on Navy, be prepared for our next game, and just be, collectively be stronger offensively moving into this this weekend against Jacksonville.
That said, how pleased are you given you go down 3-0 against Virginia? Your ladies respond brilliantly. Then you're tied 7-7 going in the fourth quarter against High Point. You rattle off 5 in a row. I mean, that's got to give you some confidence, those runs.
Yeah. You know what? You want to finish strong. It's really not our intent. The quarters for us is like now the third year that we started the quarters, and each quarter, represents very interesting numbers when you see results of games. Even this past weekend when James Madison upset the University of Florida, they were up decisively, and Florida came back with a 6-1 quarter, but it was just too short. The final was 17-16. So coming off of Virginia is just it's something to define that Navy women's lacrosse has been heard and it matters, and we have a talented young group of athletes, and our team is really, really strong and locked in and focused. And every game's not going to be perfect. So yeah, early on to identify maybe issues or problems that occur in the game, we can make adjustments and be prepared all the 4 quarters.
Thank you.
Tim, anything else?
Yeah, if I may, Coach, your ride was relentless, especially in that win over High Point. You talk about those opportunities you generated, and a lot of it came from caused turnovers in High Point's end. What did you like from that area of the field?
Yeah. Well, it's riding. Riding means you don't have the ball, and many times the officials can dictate how maybe tight they might call that. We felt that if not having the ball, that we would ride strong together and as clean as we can. We want to be aggressive and not get, it seems like almost every foul ends up in some kind of a card situation, which is a, woman down, woman up situation for or against us. So we felt if we kept the pressure on and let them feel that pressure, particularly, I don't think we felt pressure when we were tied. So we wanted to translate that into keep pressuring them, and that created our offensive abilities and gaining that run in the fourth quarter.
Chris? Wags, you're up.
Cindy,
Wags.
talk about along the lines of what Tim was talking about. You finished Virginia with a 4-0 run in the fourth quarter. You finished High Point with a 5-1, outscoring them 5-1 in the fourth quarter. Can you talk about the fact that your team is finishing games strong here lately? And I know that wasn't the case against Harvard, obviously, but in those 2 games, most recent games, you won the game when it mattered.
Yeah, we made some changes. We felt that in Harvard, the opportunities to when it was tied to go, to have that chance to score. We just demanded a little more discipline on the offensive end. We had been struggling with our extra woman offense, and against Virginia, we were 3 for 3. So we made those corrections. Kind of our failures against Harvard, was the best teacher to move forward and know what it really was going to take against a really strong Virginia team. So, yeah, players, teams sometimes, like again, with High Point coming to Maryland, high level of players rostered from the state of Maryland, they circle our game as an opportunity to get back on track, to have nothing to lose, to play hard and tough. And, our team passed the test. What I've liked after generating 45 shots to have generated more goal count, but, give it up for the goalkeeper and, more moving forward, just taking care of, our shot selection, more finishing, not rushing our shots, things that we, little areas on the field. We felt Virginia out-scrapped us, so we worked on a lot of scrapping. and a little more riding, particularly in case we were in those situations. And certainly we needed it on Sunday against High Point.
Along those lines, can you talk about your defense? You mentioned how holding High Point to 9 goals, obviously holding Virginia to a low number. I think Felicia Giglio was just named Patriot League Goalkeeper of the Week. She had two really good games with, I believe, double-digit assists of saves in both. Yeah, and can you just talk about the defense as a whole and Giglio in particular?
Yeah, we feel really good about our defense. We are obviously led, by Felicia and her solid performances. She's locked in. She trains very, very hard. She knows all the scout shots. I think the added bonus for Felicia is her ability to lead that defense, to get some takeaways. What was it, like 4 caused turnovers and 6 ground balls or something for her against Virginia, which really helped secure the victory. I mean, in the end, that was the game was on the line when Virginia had the ball and we came up with those defensive stops. So her performance has been a solid one for us at Navy. Being a sophomore helps, where she's gained that year of experience playing at the collegiate level. And certainly a true test was the Virginia game, where, you're going to see a lot of high quality shots, generated a lot of early offensive attempts by Virginia. So, that I'm glad that you're giving her a shout out.
Wags, anything else?
Yeah, well, on defense, I mean, who do you kind of consider your lockdown defender? If you had to mark a really high scoring attacker in particular, who is this? Is it Jalen Jenkins, Jacqueline Johns?
It's Jalen Jenkins, Grace Peterson. Sometimes it's JJ, Jacqueline Johnson. And we've been, immersed into some combination defenses where we do, deny shut off on certain players, making it difficult for them to get the ball, especially those who generate their offense through, many times offenses go through a certain player, whether it's because their ability to see open players and cutters and assists. So I would go with those 3 players. But we're pretty locked in. And having Grace as one of the, seniors leading the defense, there's no one more intense on the field than Grace Peterson. So she sets the standard of what we need defensively. Getting Ava back as a full-time midi, helps our defense a lot. It was not negotiable for Ava, maybe just to focus on the offensive end, maybe play an offensive midi. She's a full-time midi. And as a lefty and her lax IQ defensively, she helps a lot too defensively. She was really kind of that unspoken key on the defense against Virginia in many respects, and securing goal for us against Virginia. I think it was the 14th.
Wags, anything else?
Yeah, well, could you talk a little bit about this Florida trip? You're going to go down there and play Jacksonville. I presume since it's spring break, you will stay down in Florida. It makes sense if you're going to be playing the following Wednesday. I don't know if this is something you've done before, a 2-game swing down south, but can you talk about, how you came around to arrange this situation with 2 Florida games, and what is the plan for the travel party?
Yeah, I mean, we, it's just again for Navy women's lacrosse, we felt like it really propelled us last year going down and playing Jacksonville. We did try to get Florida on our schedule last year. We were able to secure that this year. We wanted another top 10 program. And we've had a really, really cold snowy start of our season, more so than I can remember, at least from last year. So going down there, the ability to train full time is a real key for us, meaning full time, like outside, get the training, do a couple training sessions. We're going to get our strength coach, we're going to be lifting. So we're really kind of locked in to this. When Ava said yes to Navy, we made it a thought that we would definitely try to get down to Florida. And yet last year we made that happen. And then she couldn't come because she was hurt. And so we decided to if we could get Florida on our schedule, we wanted to make that happen again and make sense while we're there to also play, at least 2 games. I mean, legitimately in the future, you have the University of South Florida, Florida State, Florida, Jacksonville. Stetson's not that strong, but still another Division I program. So, Florida is really liking women's lacrosse, and it's exciting for us to have this, through, Scott, our athletic administrator, and the NAAA giving us this opportunity to go down there and compete at this level.
So
I hate to break it to you, but it's supposed to rain on Saturday in Jacksonville.
Well, that won't be fun. I think one of their openers down in Jackson, it might have been where they played Michigan. I can't remember this year, and it was raining the whole time. But that's
it is supposed to be 80. It is going to be 80 and rain.
Last year we played, it was close to 90 degrees. They had not had that kind of heat wave ever. I mean, since they said they've played, we had Gatorades and wet towels and ice on the sideline. So we never know what to expect. Hopefully not the snow that Pensacola got, a few weeks ago, but we're excited to play. And again, just like High Point, Jacksonville's coming off a win against, Davidson. They've had this little bit of a hiatus and there's a little break in their schedule. So they're probably going back. There's not a recent information on them. So it's a game that we get to focus in on ourselves and be prepared. Not sure what we're prepared for. I've talked to the Michigan coaches. I talked to the Towson coaches about, since they've already played them, to get some scout on that. So, we're looking forward for it, being in a great situation. Like Scott said, 80, we love. Rain, we hope it holds off until the game's over. I don't know.
So are
Coach,
you
a couple
Jacksonville? Are you basing out of Jacksonville, and where are you practicing?
Yeah, we're practicing at Jacksonville, and then we head up to Gainesville, and then we'll be practicing at the University of Florida.
Scott, do you have any
Before
questions?
we play Florida, they have these immaculate golf green level, playing fields. So that makes it nice for us.
Scott, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I've got 2, one on the team and one on the state of the game. First, how about Kat McAteer? She's kind of accepted a little bit of a lesser role this year. On Sunday, she came off the bench and game's tied at 8-8, and bang, bang, she scores 2 quick goals. And she seems to, not only is she, can score goals, but she seems to inject some enthusiasm out there too. What's your thoughts on Kat?
Yeah, I mean, well, as coaches, one of the hardest things in the challenge is, deciding on the personnel, in your game and making different lineup changes and runs and things like that. There is nobody more connected, more committed. And, when we started out talking about Kat, just selfless player. And, we needed something. And as you can see, a player who can come in when the game is on the line, with not even a perception of there's pressure. A lot of times you bring in a player, it's hard to bring in when the game is close. It might be easier when, you're rolling a decisive victory, they can play free. Kat came in and laser focus got our team back on track. So as coaches, we take notice. She's a player. She's just like a coach's dream. She's a, teammate dream. So there's a lot to be said about Kat and her ability to help Navy women's lacrosse from here on out.
And my second question is, you kind of touched on it off Tim's question, but when you were talking about writing, it seems like everything's a card anymore. Has the game tilted too much to the offense, and is it virtually impossible to play defense anymore in this sport?
Yeah, it is. I brought it up to our people that are in charge of all of the rules and interpreting the rules. go back to last year. I was at the national championship final with Boston College and Northwestern. There were 15 cards. You're talking about a level of maybe playing a three, short a whole quarter of the game in a national championship final. This is not like a game where you're playing a really aggressive team or underrated team. These are the best of the best that made it to the finals. And, I then watched, Maryland play on Monday against Notre Dame men. There were 3 cards, 3. And I know you're on the committee, Scott, so you need to take a look at that. The 3 cards was a total of a minute and a half. There might have been 2. There might have been 2 30-minute and 1 minute. And, Maryland was a little outmatched in that national championship final against Notre Dame Meds. You would have thought maybe they'd be the aggressor, maybe they get cards thrown at them. That was not the case. So we need to come up with something that enhances what we're all about. We want to keep it safe. I think we've gone a little bit overboard. There is physical play. I'm all about safety in any sport, but at the level that the cards are changing the game to a woman up, woman down, no midfield, can't really ride, those types of things. And we're just have to come up, and everybody cares and everybody's passionate about it. Amanda Belichick is on another coaches rules committee. So we're going to try to figure this out. To make this more of a player's game that you can ride and that you're not in fear of just the random cards coming out. And it was a little scary looking at some of the games officiated in Florida. So we're going to prepare ourselves. But we'll see. I think it's a great question, Scott. We have a great sport. We want it to grow. It's exciting that, 2 new Division I programs in Florida. We want to keep building. And I think that if we can just figure out a happy balance between keeping the game fun, fast, furious, for the players, but also for the spectators, I think we're all in for that.
Thank you.
Coach, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
You returned almost all of your offense from last year's team, but you were able to bring in prolific scorers like Alyssa Chung and Taylor Miles. How have you been able to work them into the offense and essentially not miss a beat?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that it's a process going forward. They, both Taylor Miles has been performing at a really high level. She has an incredible outside IQ and a great finisher. Alyssa Chung has had her ups and downs. She had a solid performance on Sunday. As a freshman, you kind of expect those ebbs and flows into play, just like a little bit of Felicia last year. So, we want to blend in those players with the performers like Kat and Lola, who have maybe gotten lesser time, but a lot of it depends on the type of defense we're playing. If we're playing a heavy zone, there are certain players we like lefties on the left side. If we're playing a man, we need more fundamentally, beat your players, score a goal. So we try to, mix it up. There's some players now that are we made changes to our extra woman offense so that now we have a couple different players in that unit so that we got a higher proficiency of finishing on those extra woman offense. If we're going to be getting them, we want to take advantage of scoring on them. So, it's every day. We're just looking for them to, you want to keep them excited, not discouraged. But we're just blending them in and making what we feel are the best decisions based on who we're playing in that particular day.
All right. Thank you, Coach. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back again next week, same time.
Thank you.
From Florida.
Thank you.